Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
Would I, 38 female, be an idiot if I got back together with my ex-husband, 37 male, who cheated on me 10 years ago? My ex-husband, whom we'll call Mike, and I had been dating since we were 14 and married when we were 22. We have 2 children together, 15 female and 11 male. Every quarter, my ex's job puts him all around the nation for a week. He met one of his employees on one of these visits. I never imagined he could do anything like that since our connection was so strong. He confessed as soon as he came home. I would never have known if he hadn't told me. He begged me for forgiveness, saying he still loved me and that it was a mistake, but that he would understand if I wanted a divorce, which is what finally occurred. It was a pleasant conversation, and he really provided me more than I anticipated: house, child support, alimony. It took some time, but we eventually reconnected and had a fantastic co-parenting relationship. Mike is a wonderful parent and his children adore him. 3 years later, I'm married and he was really quite supportive. I divorced my second spouse 2 years ago because he changed his mind about having children. I want one last baby. Mike has been over a lot since the lockdown. At this time, our friendship is so strong that we don't need to impose any visits or other obligations. For the past several months, things have been heating up between us, and we've been having. I'm a woman with wants too, and to be honest, he's still the finest person I've ever been with after all these years. It's as if our bodies were designed to complement one another. He often joked that we were like Prime Pippin and Jordan in bed, and when he said it again, it seemed like we were back in the days when we were still together. It was meant to be just physical, but now we're here. He brought up the possibility of us reuniting only a few hours earlier. He gave me the most sincere speech about how dumb he was the night he cheated and how he had never stopped loving me in the last 10 years. I was shocked and couldn't say anything, so he simply smiled and said, "It's okay, I'll wait," before going home. Now I'm laying in bed, typing this. I'd be lying if I claimed I didn't adore him. I'd be lying if I claimed the past few months haven't been the happiest of my life. And I'd be lying if I claimed I never forgiven him for cheating on me. I informed him years ago that I had already done so. If I had to make a decision right now, I'd get out of bed, drive to his place, and bring him home. It takes all I have not to do so. I adore him. However, I also want to use my intellect here. The benefits of reclaiming him are as follows. He's a wonderful father, and the kids would benefit from having him around more. He's a fantastic supplier. He claims he still wants children, and I still adore him. Cons: I'm not sure yet, but maybe some of you can assist me with that. Do you have any suggestions about how I should proceed? When we began sleeping together, I made the first move. Update: I texted Mike that I needed some time and space to think about everything. I've waited 10 years, I can wait a little more, he answered. My heart softened. Our son was seeking for his father when the youngsters awoke. He's at the age when he idolizes his father. But I understand why. Mike is a fantastic father. All morning, our daughter gave me the stink look. My daughter confronted me about Mike after lunch, while our son was in his room playing video games. She essentially said that she was aware of what was going on, guess we're not that, and that she didn't want our bickering to have an impact on their lives. She mistook us for a fight. Now the divorce has impacted her, although not as drastically as she had feared. We made certain that she received therapy as soon as possible and that her life was as normal as possible. I'm not going to kid myself into thinking she wasn't wounded, but I'm quite sure we handled it very well, or at least as best as we could. I then said that we weren't fighting, but rather the contrary. We were considering getting back together. She paused for a while before saying she was glad for us and hoped it was for the long haul this time. I sent my kids up to my parents' home the following day so I could chat to Mike at his apartment. We had a lengthy discussion about how we felt about each other, what we want to do about it in the future, and as many of you mentioned, what he intends to do the next time we hit a hard patch, particularly because we intend to have a third child. He informed me that the night he cheated tormented him even after 10 years. He told me it wasn't worth it and that it was the worst mistake of his life. He promised that if we ever had another hard patch, We would speak about it like adults. He also advised that we attend to couples therapy once in a while, even when things were going well. This was a good concept. I'd want to keep certain aspects regarding our chat secret, but long story short, we reconciled. We're going to take things slowly, and we both decided that our children will take precedence over everything. He's not going to move in yet, but he'd want to spend a couple evenings a week with us. We sat the kids down later that night and relayed the news to them. Our daughter didn't say much since she already knew, but our son was ecstatic. We divorced when he was a newborn, so the idea of both his parents being together was foreign to him. They definitely had questions, which we addressed. We also want to provide family therapy to make the transition simpler for everyone. Overall, I'm in a good mood right now. Mike committed a mistake 10 years ago, but I don't hold it against him and have forgiven him totally. I know he loves me now and will never cheat on me again. I'm back with the love of my life and the father of my children, and I couldn't be happier. Mike is in the next room with our kid, playing video games while I write this. I'm not sure what the future holds for him, but I'm glad he's back. Peace. Story 2. Was my wife having an emotional affair? I'm not sure whether I'm thinking too much, but here goes. My wife and I have been married for 24 years. We are happily married with 3 children. We spend a lot of time snuggling, and we are each other's greatest friends. When she went out to take the kids to an event the other day, I got on her iPad like a 5-year-old child to check whether she bought me anything I wanted for Christmas. I know, stupid. Anyway, Facebook Messenger flashed up with a discussion she'd been having, on and off, with a man she briefly dated in high school since August of this year. The man is newly divorced, struggling financially, and battling for custody of his kid. He established contact with my wife. The chats were lighthearted. She told me about her life, especially about her children. He kept calling her lovely as if to say, "Hello, gorgeous," which irritates me. She reacted once by saying, "Hey, handsome," which may seem little to others, but it disturbed me. The postings were generally harmless, with him reaching out to say, "Hey, what's up?" and discussing his divorce and his child. He once said that she was attractive in high school. A month ago, he informed her he had a dream about her in which she shared nasty images of herself with him, and I was all right with it since I do awful things myself. And she didn't really add anything to the post, maybe at LOL at most. But this was not a dream to me, he was trolling. He mentioned never got to see her nude in high school, and she did state they never slept together. She did ask him whether he had any more dreams the next time they spoke, and he claimed he was still waiting for images, and that he would crash his vehicle if she sent them now, to which she simply answered, "I nearly spat out my coffee, just mind the road." I questioned her about the whole incident, and she says he merely viewed him as a friend, that there was no attraction, and that he didn't really think much of his dream, stating he was pretty weird like that even in high school. Part of me wants to believe her since we'd spoken about it for hours, but another part of me believes there may have been more. We don't hide secrets from each other, and to be honest, we don't keep friends of the opposing, particularly those we don't know. I inquired why she never mentioned him, and she replied she didn't want to disturb me. We are really close and have always been deeply in love, which is why this, even if it seems to most others to be little, hurts all the more. I asked her how she'd feel if this was me, and the shoe was on the other foot, and she replied she'd be upset, but also that I'm creating something out of nothing.